What if I told you that winning the biggest music competition on television is actually the worst thing that can happen to an artist's career? Have you ever considered that the ultimate prize on a reality television broadcast might actually be a profound professional disadvantage in the modern music economy? For over 2 decades, the entertainment industry has perpetuated a specific narrative regarding music competition broadcasts. The individual who secures the final victory is immediately launched into a sustained, highly lucrative career. However, as our investigative team analyzes the current landscape in 2026, the diverging trajectories of last year's finalists, Roberts and John Foster, are prompting a fundamental reassessment of this model. The broadcast finale is widely perceived by the public as the definitive conclusion of the artist's journey, yet industry professionals understand it merely as the initiation of a complex corporate process. We are observing a significant, measurable career gap between the corporate-sponsored acceleration of the winner and the deliberate, autonomous cultivation of the runner-up. This is not merely an anomaly, it is a developing industry trend where immediate television visibility is increasingly at odds with sustainable artistic autonomy. By examining the touring data, merchandise revenue streams, and contract structures over the past 12 months, it becomes clear that the traditional metrics for measuring success are outdated. The initial surge of publicity provided by a major network often masks the restrictive realities that follow. Our report investigates how the public's perception of winning sharply contrasts with the stark financial realities of the music business, suggesting that finishing in second place may afford an artist the critical leverage necessary to construct a truly durable and profitable enterprise long after the television cameras have stopped rolling. Market saturation often occurs rapidly for winners, while independent artists can pace their growth to match true audience demand. The data from 2026 provides a stark warning to future competitors. There is a highly complex financial structure operating beneath the surface of every manufactured pop star, and the reigning champion is currently its primary revenue driver. When Roberts secured the championship title, he inherited a comprehensive recording and management contract typical of major television productions. In the industry, these are frequently structured as 360-degree deals, a contractual arrangement where the corporate entity claims a significant percentage of all revenue streams, encompassing record sales, digital streaming, live performance ticketing, and merchandise distribution. Roberts was immediately positioned at the center of a high-speed, capital-intensive rollout designed to quickly recoup the network's substantial promotional investment. While this strategy guarantees immediate mainstream visibility and high-profile media placements, financial analysts point out that it fundamentally alters the artist's operational freedom. Roberts functions within a highly structured corporate hierarchy where major creative and logistical decisions, ranging from musical direction to promotional scheduling, are subject to executive approval. The pressure to generate consistent, chart-topping commercial success is immense, creating a volatile environment where the artist is only as valuable as their latest algorithmic performance. Furthermore, the massive advance payments associated with these victories must be recouped, meaning the artist may not see actual royalty profits until the label has entirely recovered its initial expenditures. This financial reality paints a vastly different picture than the glamorous lifestyle depicted in mainstream media, highlighting the intense, relentless pressure that characterizes the daily professional life of a heavily invested, label-dependent performer attempting to maintain their precarious position at the top of the industry. While the mainstream entertainment press focused entirely on the winner's corporate integration, the runner-up executed one of the most calculated strategic pivots in recent music history. Following the conclusion of the 2025 season, the standard industry expectation was that John Foster would quickly sign a subordinate contract to capitalize on his residual television momentum before it inevitably dissipated. Instead, our reporting indicates that Foster deliberately rejected the conventional post-competition. Free from the restrictive obligations inherent in the winner's package, he made the calculated decision to step away from the mainstream pop ecosystem and aggressively re-establish his traditionalist aesthetic. This represents a significant calculated risk. Bypassing the major label system means forfeiting immense promotional budgets and guaranteed radio airplay. However, economic data from the latter half of 2025 demonstrates that this hyper-focused, niche strategy has yielded extraordinary dividends in brand loyalty. By retaining complete ownership of his master recordings and intellectual property, Foster constructed an independent infrastructure that prioritizes long-term financial health over fleeting viral relevance. He dedicated his initial post-show months to cultivating a dedicated, grassroots consumer base, audiences who actively purchase premium physical media and exclusive merchandise rather than passively streaming individual tracks. By intentionally positioning himself as the authentic, independent alternative to heavily manufactured commercial acts, Foster transformed his runner-up status into his most powerful marketing asset. He essentially bypassed the saturated mainstream market to dominate a highly lucrative parallel economy entirely on his own terms. The true disparity between these two artists becomes overwhelmingly apparent when you analyze the fundamental difference between living on corporate advances versus retaining absolute ownership. The financial gap separating the winner and the runner-up has widened in 2026 in ways that directly challenge traditional industry logic. While Roberts may possess higher visibility on mainstream domestic charts and larger overall streaming volumes, an examination of their respective royalty structures reveals a striking contrast in actual net profitability. In a standard major label arrangement, revenue is meticulously divided among a vast network of producers, songwriters, marketing executives, and corporate shareholders before the recording artist receives their designated percentage. Consequently, a massive gross revenue figure often translates to a surprisingly modest net income for the performer. Conversely, John Foster operates with minimal corporate overhead. Because he retained total ownership of his publishing rights and master recordings, his profit margins per unit sold are exponentially higher. A single physical album or merchandise item sold directly to a fan via his independent platform generates more personal revenue than thousands of passive digital streams controlled by a corporate entity. This structural advantage allows the independent artist to generate significant wealth without the astronomical sales volume demanded by the major labels. Foster has effectively traded the fleeting illusion of ubiquitous pop stardom for the concrete reality of sustainable, generational wealth. It is a profound demonstration of how direct-to-consumer business models are fundamentally disrupting the traditional hierarchy of the entertainment sector, proving that ownership is far more valuable than mere exposure. What happens to an artist's long-term viability when they bypass domestic media saturation to quietly construct a highly profitable, self-sustaining international touring network? The contrast in operational freedom is perhaps most evident when analyzing the live performance itineraries of the two artists over the past 12 months. Roberts is currently navigating a grueling, label-mandated domestic touring schedule. These appearances are often deeply intertwined with promotional obligations, radio festivals, morning television broadcasts, and high-profile industry events. While these commitments maintain his mainstream visibility, they are notoriously expensive to execute and frequently yield incredibly low personal profit margins for the artist once production costs and corporate percentages are deducted. Meanwhile, John Foster has quietly but aggressively expanded his live operations internationally. Recognizing that overseas markets often place a higher premium on live instrumentation and organic performance over television celebrity, he has cultivated a massive touring presence across European territories. By operating outside the purview of the American entertainment press, Foster commands premium ticket pricing and retains the vast majority of the box office revenue. The audiences attending these international engagements are not attending out of curiosity generated by a reality broadcast. They are deeply invested, paying consumers of his musical. This strategic international expansion has provided Foster with a highly lucrative, insulated revenue stream that is entirely unaffected by domestic market trends or the shifting priorities of network executives, demonstrating the unmatched value of an independent global strategy. As the data from the past year continues to surface, we are forced to critically everything the entertainment establishment has taught us about the true definition of winning. The comprehensive economic and cultural analysis of the diverging paths taken by Roberts and John Foster provides a definitive case study on the shifting paradigms of modern celebrity. For decades, the public has been conditioned to accept that a massive corporate recording contract is the ultimate culmination of musical success. However, the empirical realities of 2026 indicate a far more nuanced and complex environment. We are witnessing the inherent limitations and immense psychological pressures of the fast-track celebrity model, where artists are expected to function as flawless corporate assets under relentless public scrutiny. Simultaneously, we are observing the undeniable financial and creative superiority of the independent slow build, an approach that prioritizes foundational, direct-to-consumer growth over explosive, short-term visibility. While the television broadcasting industry will undoubtedly continue to heavily promote the narrative of the triumphant winner, as it remains a vital component of their own profitability, the actual data suggests that the structural advantages increasingly belong to the artist who operates outside the conventional spotlight. The ability to control one's schedule, retain ownership of intellectual property, and cultivate an unmediated relationship with a consumer base are the true indicators of longevity in today's market. For those analyzing the future trajectory of the music business, this scenario proves that the most significant, enduring victories are rarely broadcast on live television. They are built methodically in the shadows.